This is an acorn. It's lost its little lid, but or top on it, whatever you want to call it, but it's mostly still intact. And when I look at something like this, as an acorn, and when I'm out photographing, or even when I'm out just for a hike and I find things in nature, a good question to ask is, what does this tell me about God? So what does this acorn tell us about God? Well, it tells us he's a provider, right? Because this is food for an animal, for a squirrel, for a deer, for a bear. All sorts of animals eat acorns. And you know what? God also provides these in abundance, right? Because he's a God of abundance. There's a tree, an oak tree produces, I don't know how many tens of thousands of acorns, right? And there's so many trees out here, and a lot of them are oaks. And there are other nut trees too, producing nuts for the animals to eat. And so God provides, and they like them. They taste good to these guys. Ever see squirrels eating nuts? I mean, it's a joyous occasion. So God is a provider of good things, right? As well. He's a provider of pleasure. And you know what? It's really early spring. Winter's just ending here. And this acorn has made it this far. Maybe something will come along and eat it just somewhere. But the fact that it's made it this far means that no animal needed to eat it because they had others. So God provided enough through the winter for the animals to eat. And somewhere out here in this woods nearby, somewhere is another acorn, or maybe even this acorn that'll survive and not be eaten. It's buried in leaves or buried by a squirrel and forgotten. And that acorn will grow into a tree, an oak tree, that'll feed by producing other acorns. It'll feed generations of squirrels and deers and other things to come, right? It may even be around 100 years from now, if God tarries and no one chops down these woods, right? Be here for 100 years. What does that tell us about God? Think about that. And I'd like to have you answer that yourselves, and maybe put that down in the comments. What does that tell us about God? That a tree will be around 100 years or more, feeding acorns. A tree that fell off an acorn this fall, landed in the ground, and then 100 years from now is still around, feeding generations upon generations of squirrels and birds and other things. What does that tell us about God? Let me know in the comments, all right? And remember to visit the website, visualverse.thecreationspeaks.com, visualverse.thecreationspeaks.com, and get outside and draw near to God and his creation. Thanks. Have a great day.